This is the Para Cave Podcast, proudly brought to you by major sponsor Parramatta Leagues Club, home of the Eels, and also home of Jack's Pale Ale.
Welcome to another episode of the Para Cave Podcast. And now over to your host, Troy Warner, broadcasting live from the world-famous Para Cave.
And yes, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Para Cave Podcast. Troy Warner here, and it is a very disappointed and I guess you could say upset Troy Warner because New South Wales lost Game 3, the decider, lost the series to Queensland 2-1. I was fortunate enough to be at the game last night in front with 80,000 other people, 80,256 to be correct. And look, it was a very disappointing result, obviously. Queensland, congratulations on winning the series. Well played. Certainly coming into this week was, I guess, a really emotionally charged game to come into with the passing of Cameron Munster's father, Stephen. And I guess that was a real challenge, I guess, thrown up to the Queenslanders. But look, Cameron Munster, congratulations, well played. You certainly came out and led your team around like we knew that you would. I wouldn't say so much under pressure, but definitely it would have been on your mind in terms of what had happened earlier in the week, losing your father, and knowing that you would want to represent not only himself but also the state of Queensland and the rest of your family as well. So congratulations on that performance. I know that must have been really tough for you yourself personally to get out there and perform like the way you did, but certainly led the team around and you got a series victory as captain, so well done to yourself on that one. But not Harry Grant, although he did score a try and did play pretty well. Tom Dearden, congratulations, you were the Wally Lewis medalist for player of the series. Played all three games off the bench in game number 1, and then the big call by Billy Slater to drop DCE, Daly Cherry Evans, the captain and halfback, in game number 2. And Tom Dearden steps up, had a great game for Queensland then. And look, last night in that decider game, what a game he had. Absolutely nailed pretty much everything. There was a try-saving tackle on Brian Toto. Now, that was amazing. He scored 2 tries himself. And, look, just about everywhere Tom Dearden was there. He was absolutely amazing. 2 tries that really broke New South Wales. 19 runs, 171 metres. He also made 27 tackles as well, but none more important than that one with Brian Toto. Couldn't believe he was going to get him over the line. And look, speaking of that, I think that was probably... Look, I was, as a fan, New South Wales fan, I was a little bit disappointed. Like, going into the game, I know that you're going to have injured players, but I think looking back on it now, look, I'm no coach either, so and I'm no rugby league expert. I'm just a rugby league fan who watches a little bit of rugby league, and having injured players in your side. Look, there was a point there where Brian Toto did make a break down the left-hand side of the field, I think it was, and I thought that if he was uninjured, I thought he probably scores a try. But He was going into that camp. He was hindered. I think it was a hamstring. I think potentially. So he and Jacob Kiraz was 18th man on watch just to see if he could come through that. But anyway, he did play. Still, I guess I probably wouldn't have gone into the side with injured players. Although Brian Toto, he did score a try in the game. It did run for 269 metres, I must say. So, although that is a pretty good effort by a player that was injured. But I just think if he was fully fit, he would have scored that try, to be honest. And look, there was other ones as well. Nathan Cleary. Now, a lot of people are going to bag Nathan Cleary. I'm going to say, look, fantastic player, dead set champion player in club football. Just, I think that in Origin football, I think the stats are showing it for themselves. I think it's 4 deciders now. Nathan hasn't won any of them. And it was clear that he was going into this game. He was under an injury cloud as well. He wasn't goal kicking because of his groin injury. And just his general play kicks. And again, I'm not a rugby league expert. I'm just a fan watching from the stands. And I was watching from behind the goalposts in Blatchy's Blues section. And just his kick selection, I thought, was probably not the right kick selection. And as I said, I don't know what to do in those situations because I'm not Nathan Cleary. I'm not an elite halfback. But the prime goal, I thought it was for most of the night, and anyway throughout the night on the fifth tackle, especially for New South Wales, which is to kick it high and have Zach Lomax try and catch it and pass it back to somebody. But that's just seemed to be every single tackle, every single fifth tackle option was to kick it high and Zach Lomax come through and try and catch it and pass it to somebody else. Yes, I understand and I know that Zach Lomax is a great attacking weapon, but all the teams that Parramatta play, they know that. Obviously the Queensland side, they know that. You can't, I guess. Well, I guess you can use it every time, but you know what you're going to get. It can sometimes come off, and we have seen that with Zach Lomax. He has taken the catch. He has gone on to score tries. He has taken the catch, and he has offloaded for tries. I just think every single time is a bit of repetition, and maybe. And we did see roll the ball along the ground, kick the ball along the ground, and score a try. That was amazing, but and try and get a repeat set and whatever. But it just seemed it was a bit repetitive for me. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts about that one and the Nathan Cleary kicking game, and let me know about your thoughts about Nathan Cleary as well. Would he be a walk-up start next season? I think he probably will be, but will he be the halfback? I don't know. I could be a little bit more biased here and obviously say that Mitchell Moses will get the halfback spot for New South Wales. It was unfortunate that Mitchell was injured throughout this Origin series except for game number 1. And look, game number 1, New South Wales won. I don't know if there was a coincidence there, but I just don't know. You let me know what your thoughts are on that one. And look, I was just really disappointed, as is most of all of New South Wales, obviously. Queensland, they just did the 1%ers better. Their kick chase was better. Their line speed was better. We saw when New South Wales put kicks down, there was no kick pressure on Queensland as much as what we thought there would be. When New South Wales put kicks... Sorry, when Queensland put kicks in... when New South Wales put kicks in... I'm getting my words mixed up, so I don't know. When New South Wales put kicks in, there wasn't a lot of pressure in terms of trying to tackle whoever had the ball. The prime example of that one was Xavier Coates. A kick was put in. I think Zach Lomax just missed him. Connor Watson was up there in defence as well. And he thought maybe there might be a few other players around him as well and get Xavier in goal, but it wasn't to be. It just seemed like that all night. Look, Queensland, they did score a try. It was basically, I think, Latrell Mitchell, and or it could have been Stephen Crichton trying to take someone across the sideline. Robert Toyer, there we go, and he got the ball back inside to Hammer, and Hammer's quick speed just made him get a break, and that man Tom Dearden was on the inside backing up, and he goes and scores a try right under the post. So look, little plays like that. I just don't know. It's not a very organised podcast, this one. I'm sorry, but I really thought that New South Wales could win this game. They had probably their two worst halves in game 2 and 3. That first half of game number 2, and obviously the first half of this game as well, game number 3, and Queensland just blew them out of the water in both games. And New South Wales, they nearly got the win in game number 2. They fought very well and got back into that game and had a chance to win it, but this game here, I don't know what happened there. Queensland got off to that great start. Xavier Coates, Tom Dearden, Harry Grant right before halftime. That is a coach killer try, that one, right before halftime. That is not what you want. 20-0 at halftime. Very hard to come back from that. Look, and New South Wales, they pretty much sort of dominated every sort of stat on paper. Just couldn't turn that into points. 50-50 possession. Their completion rate was a little bit down, 82% compared to Queensland's 92%. And obviously, if you've got a completion rate of 92%, you're going to win a rugby league game, and especially an Origin game. But New South Wales had more runs. They made more run meters, more post-contact meters, more line breaks, more tackle breaks. Their average set distance was longer. The kick return meters was better. Their play the ball speed was better. More offloads. Their kicking meters was down. They had more forced dropouts. So, look, I just think it's strange how they could pretty much dominate on those fronts, but cannot win a game. But questions will be asked, I guess, of Coach Laurie Daley. Now, on social media, I did make a comment, why do fans always blame the coach for this instance? Look, Laurie has been there before. He was there during that Queensland dominant series victories, the 8 in a row. He did break that by getting a series victory. But I think it's now 3 or 4 deciders that Laurie has lost as coach. I don't think you can sack Laurie after 1 year. I think you've got to at least give him another year as well. Some of the decisions he made, were they right? Were they wrong? There was a lot of debate about some players for Game 1. Terrell May, Keon Kolomatangi as well. He was in the mix as well. Hamoli Olakawatu was there as well. Don't forget this year's series, Cameron Murray was missing from... He plays for the South Sydney Rabbitohs. He was missing for New South Wales. A great defensive player he is. So New South Wales sure missed him. But then again, last year, Queensland missed Cameron Munster and Tino Fasu Malawi as well. So it goes in swings and roundabouts, that's for sure, when it comes to players available and not available. So you just have to take your opportunities. And one opportunity that was taken was Josh Papali'i. Came back out of representative football retirement, got the SOS call from Billy Slater, and had a big game himself. So I guess, I don't know, is that the representative retirement now of Josh? But just have to wait and see. Maybe he's got that little bit of a taste back for State of Origin football. He might be back next year. I think he's 33, he'll be 34, I think, next year. So, yeah, I don't know. New South Wales, they had a golden opportunity. They went up to Queensland. They won game number 1. It's very hard to win up there, as New South Wales know, but they got the job done there. As I said, their first half in Perth, where they have a really good record. They've played there 3 times, they've won twice, and when they have won, they've won pretty convincingly. And Queensland, they just turned the tides and they made some changes in that one. Game number 3, back at home in front of 80,000 people. The crowd there last night, look, they tried to be vocal at the start of the game, getting the New South Wales chant going. And they tried to be vocal, but Queensland just took them out of the game by silencing them, by scoring points. And look, to be honest, even when Stephen Crichton scored his try in the corner, I was just sitting there. I didn't get excited. I didn't know if that was going to be enough. It was a big gap to try and bring back. It was 20-0, and then 14, still 14 points to get. So I don't know, just the way that the players were playing, I couldn't get excited. I thought potentially that there was early on signs where Stephen Crichton was he was getting the better of Shibasaki, I think it was, on that side, and you thought maybe they might go that edge a few more times. There was a few more times there where Zach Lomax, he was unmarked, but there was a kick put in instead of a pass. Was that the right option? Yeah, maybe. But that was the Xavier Coates running out of the in-goal area. So I also raised the point as well on social media about if look, I'm not blaming the Penrith players, and this is not Penrith bashing. This is they are the bulk of the side. They got, I think, 5 players in that side, and probably deservedly so, because they have been the benchmark in the NRL for the last 5 years. So maybe their brand of football in the NRL is not the same that is needed in State of Origin football. Maybe they have been sort of, I guess, worked out in terms of their style of play. Is that style of play the same as what you need in State of Origin? Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe something else needs to be done. So, yeah, it's just really disappointing. I wish I could have been in a more happier mood and just talking about a series win. Look, I think next year is too far away. You don't know what's going to happen next year. it's too far away to be saying, yeah, this player's going to play, this player's not going to play. That's for sure. But it was a tough night, I thought, for Latrell Mitchell. Tried his heart out, made a few mistakes, but it was a tough night. Missed a tackle, I think. Missed a tackle or two at a crucial time. But it was a tough night for him. He was involved. There was a few push and shoves here and there that he was in the centre of, but a very tough night for him. Unusual for him not to score a try in the series. Has done so before. Reece Robinson, I thought, added a little bit of spark as well. He had his moments, and when Connor Watson came on as well, I thought he was going to add some spark as well, which he did. But the one of the other main things was Spencer Leniu. I thought maybe he would have come on a little bit earlier than what he did, but that wasn't to be. So, yep, there we go. State of Origin, done and dusted again for another season. Queensland win the Shield again. And look, it was they had the 1980 players there at the stadium for Queensland and New South Wales. So I thought that was a nice touch. The remaining players that are still with us were there at Accor Stadium, as it was a day after the 45th anniversary of State of Origin game number 1. So game number 1 State of Origin was 1980, July 8, and it was July 9 yesterday. So it was 45 years anniversary there. It was a nice touch to have them. I think they did a guard of honour for the players when they ran out on the field as well. So, yeah, really, I don't know. It's just so frustrating. What made it worse was coming home on the train. It ended up at Quakers Hill. Now, for those who don't know, I don't live in Quakers Hill or down that train line, so that just compounded the loss, I think. I ended up at Quakers Hill and had to go back to Blacktown to get to Penrith. So, yeah, that just compounded it, I think. So, yeah, look, I don't know what's going to be done. As I said, I think there will be a little bit of a review, as both teams will do throughout after this Origin series. What they did well, what they did, not so good, what they could do better, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens next season. As I said, the talk about Laurie Daley, I think he will be the coach next year. I think you just got to give him one more year. Test the waters. He tested the waters this year after inheriting a champion team, defending series champions team, and look, things just probably didn't go right. So just have to wait and see what happens next season. He had the right people around him. As I said, I think the injured players throughout the camp, throughout the camp for game number 3, that probably did not help New South Wales. I mean, someone like Payne Haas as well, 15 runs, 128 metres. He was damaging at times, but probably just wasn't the same Payne Haas as what we saw in game number 1, even though he was under an injury cloud in game number 1 as well. So, yeah, congratulations Queensland. Congratulations Coach Billy Slater. He was under a bit of pressure as well. Talk about his job as well. But I think he probably still would have been around if Queensland lost his series for next year anyway. But he made some tough calls. He also made some comments, I think, for game number 2 about something that was going on in the game. I won't go into that one too much, but apologise for those straight away as well. So that would have been on his mind. It's a high-pressure job, rugby league coaching, and especially State of Origin coaching when the series is on the line. So he made the tough calls, he stood by them, and obviously got them right. So, I don't know. Do you reckon he will be a NRL coach one day? I'm not 100% sure about that one. I think probably State of Origin is what he would like to do. Maybe the Australian job later on down the track, if he retires from the Queensland coaching job. But anyway, that's a conversation for another day. Massive TV viewers for this game. So there was a lot of interest in this game across New South Wales, Queensland, and indeed Australia, because there was massive TV ratings. 5.66 million people tuned into game number 3. That is up 5% on game number 3, 2024, and it was the most streamed event in Australian sports history with 978,000. That was 11% up on game number 3. So they are some huge figures. So for those who say that rugby league is not the number one sport in Australia, well, I don't know. You need to have a look at yourself, because by going by those figures, it obviously is, and it is the greatest game of all. Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. I really appreciate it. If you would like to follow me, please do on Spotify, Apple, also Instagram and Facebook as well. I will be at CommBank Stadium on Sunday for the Battle of the West, Parramatta versus the Panthers, and it'll be interesting to see if the Panthers players back up in this one, because they have been named on an extended bench, and this will just not do very good for the Parramatta Eels, I don't think, because I shouldn't say that, because they wouldn't worry about that, because they know that they can beat them, but just having those Penrith players in the side and having this series loss, it would hurt them, and they'd want to come out and make a statement. Unfortunately, it is against Parramatta, so hopefully we don't see that happen. I know we won't see that happen. Anyway, that's another conversation, another podcast for another day. Thank you very much for listening to this. That is State of Origin 2025 done and dusted. Congratulations, Queensland. Commiserations, New South Wales. We move on to next year and also club football for the rest of this year. The Para Cave podcast, by the fan, for the fans. Go the Blues and go Para.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Para Cave podcast. See you next time.